Why, hello, welcome, movie fans. How are you doing today? Uh, Another episode, another awesome, horrifying episode of KDM. The K, if you haven't figured this out by now, folks, well, where have you been? But just in case you are new, and we always welcome new people. We love audience. We love people, tall, short, men, women, with no matter what your size, whatever. We want you to come on board KDM, where the K stands for Kit. Kit Bowen, my good friend and colleague. Hi, Kit.
Hey,
Oh,
and the D
how's
stands
it
for
going?
Dimitri.
Hello, that's
Yay!
that's me. And the M, well, where's the M? Where's the third person? Well, the M stands for movies.
Because we
So
both
we are
love them so much.
KDN. Yeah, we love them. We talk about them. And every time we usually focus on a film, it's our review show, KDM. And this week's movie, Kit, too soon perhaps, but Last
I don't know
Rites.
how it goes.
But this is for the
I'm not.
Conjuring Last
I'm. I.
Rites.
I'm not a. I'm not a Catholic person, but yes, that's something how it goes. Yes. Yes. The last
Yeah.
Conjuring movie
The
seems like it
last
might be
Conjuring
the
movie.
last one.
Yeah, which we should talk about. Yeah, perhaps. You never know in the world of movies. Every time it's just like a band who goes out and tours and says, "This is our final tour," and then
Or
15
Daniel
years
Day
later,
Lewis.
or, or Daniel Day-Lewis. That's a good one.
Yeah, he
So
said
you
I
never
should
know,
just.
but
I
this
just. I just read a little quote from him because I was like, oh, I thought he goes, I should have just kept my mouth shut.
right. So as I said, you never
Anyway.
know, but we'll talk about what we feel the ending means to this. And again, we are talking Conjuring Last Rites. The Conjuring movies have, like, since the first Conjuring movie came out, it's created a universe of movies, Annabelle movies, the Nun movies, and but The Conjuring have still remained with the moniker The Conjuring, and there have been four: The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and now this one, Conjuring Last Rites. Um, we're not going to touch on the entire universe. Maybe
Well, we could talk a little bit about the Annabelle
yeah,
movies.
but if warranted, see what I did there?
That was good. That was good.
We may touch on some of those movies, but first and foremost, our opinions of what we thought of The Conjuring Last Rites. I always defer to you ladies before gentlemen, and yes, Kit, you are a lady. You should be treated as such. Kit, what did you think about The Conjuring Last Rites?
Um, it's okay. It I thought it was a kind of a nice wrap up. Certainly this one's it focuses on another based on another true story. We're set now in 1986, and we've got this large family lives in this home in Pittsburgh, and they are being tortured and all of the good stuff that happens in a Conjuring movie. However, this one is connected very closely to the Warrens themselves. So, like we talked about this before too, you and I, that this film really kind of focuses on them as a family unit. You see a young Warren couple. Gosh, why am I blanking on their name? Uh,
Lorraine and
uh,
Ed,
Lori and Ed, thank you.
you're
As
welcome.
young newly married, and the movie open. Oh, obviously, the movie has been out for a week or so, so hopefully most everyone. If you haven't seen the movie, just know we're going to be
Yes.
spoiling. We always have to
Big
remember
spoiler
to say
alert.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you haven't seen the movie, tune out now and come back and hear our review. But if you did see the movie, then you can let us know what you think. Anyway, the movie starts out with the newly married couple, and she's pregnant with their one child that we know they have, Judy. Um, and they're investigating this antique shop, and there's this horrifying mirror. Mirrors are bad. big giant wooden mirrors, they're not good. Why
Especially
would you
with
want one?
cherubs on top.
Yeah, like,
Like, yes.
yeah, yeah, really kind of creepy looking angely things on
Oh.
top of it. Yeah, mirrors are all bad. Anyway, so somehow she, Lorraine touches the mirror and she suddenly goes into labor. So there's a connection, right? This mirror somehow has, in what one shape or another has been looking for this family forever to continue their torture. Jump forward to the 1986. Judy's now, in her mid 20s, and she unfortunately has inherited her mother's abilities to sense horribleness all around you at all times. Creepy people and demon thingies coming at you, touching your shoulder and all that kind of. So, but it has increased, and they've learned this little trick. Her mother's tried to, through her whole life, has tried to teach her little tricks to shut this stuff out so that it doesn't ruin her life. But Judy still, and they have this little. I thought that was cute. This little rhyme that they say, and she shuts her eyes, and when she opens her eyes up, the whatever the horrible thing that she's seeing is gone. So, but it seems to be that this ability of hers is growing, and she's seeing things on a more frequent basis. And you come to find out it's because this Pittsburgh family has uncovered that horrible mirror
At a yard sale.
sale. Yeah. And it's now in their house, and somehow now it's beckoning Judy because they have unfinished business with Judy, whatever this horrible demon mirror has. Unfinished business with Judy. Um, so you kind of got Judy's now fallen in love, and she's got this new guy, and he loves her too, and they're gonna, he wants to propose to her, and there's this whole all of that kind of stuff is kind of fun. Personally, the whole Warren stuff was good. I mean, it was nice to see sort of a different perspective. I mean, we have seen a bit of the Warren home in Annabelle Comes Home. We know about the room with all of the stuff in it, and kind of seeing it all again in the guise of this young man who's come into their family life. He doesn't know all about everything um that they've been through, and he's heard things here and there. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. My problem with the film is that it just went on too long. They just needed to you know, get to the stuff, which is basically what ends up happening at the end. They finally, the Warrens finally get to this house because, Lorraine has basically said, I don't want to do this anymore. And she's really made a point about, not being involved in any cases anymore because it was just too hard to do on the family. And so they are brought back in just when they think they're out. Um, but it's because they have to sort of find closure with this mirror thing. So, I mean, and all of the stuff that happens in the house with the mirror and the horribleness and all of that was great. It's very Conjuring esque. It didn't scare me quite as bad. I don't know. That first Conjuring movie with Lily Taylor and Ron Livingston and the whole house thing, that scared the bejesus out of me. Really, I had like three
Scary
o'clock in the
movie.
I had like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, horribleness happening. I'd wake up and I'd go, "What time is it?" And do I smell sulfur? What's happening? Yeah, that was horrifying to me. Horrifying.
It was a scary movie. It's a very
Yeah,
scary movie.
but since
Yeah.
then they have become less and less so, and this one just didn't. It didn't scare me like the other ones. However, I think the added narrative of a family, finally coming to grips with whatever it is that they do, uh and moving forward with life, and that kind of thing was nice. I liked that. I did. I liked it. It's just I felt it went on a little too long, and that it needed to get to the nitty-gritty of it, and then we can have our sigh of relief and wonderful, future, whatever ends up happening in the future kind of stuff. So, and if you know anything about the Warrens, Ed ended up having a stroke and died at like age 74. And then Lorraine ended up living a lot longer to like 92, and then she died like in the mid 2000s. So they have a longer life after this film, and
Mhm.
and I loved sort of at the end where she says she saw the vision of their future and it's wonderful, and that was all very nice. It was kind of a nice cathartic, you know. All right, maybe they don't have to worry about all these demons. However, I guess in that coda, they do talk about how they still do help people here and there. They'll help them either talk to them on the phone or whatever. So they're still helping people with their demons, I guess.
Yes,
If you
yes.
believe in all that, of course, the Warrens historically are very controversial, of what they proclaim to have done, and people say, "Oh no, everything that they did was hoaxes," and all of that stuff. So I tend to want to believe in it, I guess, just because it's fun to believe in that kind of stuff, I guess, ghosts and
It
things.
makes
I
the
don't know.
movies,
It makes
it
movies
gives the
great,
movies a
but
little,
that was
yeah, it
their
makes the
real
movies a
life
little bit,
too. I mean,
yeah, it
geez.
makes the
So
movies a little
anyway,
more
so yeah,
impactful
so
too.
I didn't think this one was nearly as good. It's never topped that first one, any of them.
Right.
But this one was definitely better than say that third one. That third one was really kind of,
Yeah, I
they
wasn't too much
actually
of a fan
added
of
to
the
that.
devil made me do it. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole witch stuff, they sort of, that was added on as a narrative that didn't actually really happen. So this one was kind of came back to their more roots of what really
Hmm.
happened to this family. So anyway,
Right.
so yeah, it was
Yeah.
okay. It was okay.
So, yeah, and we'll talk a little bit too about embellishments. It was a topic of conversation after I had seen after watching the movie. Yeah, I more or less felt the same way you did. I felt that it was a, if it is to be the last, it was a nice way to end. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, you said the word, it was sweet. It's probably the most tender-hearted of the movies, if you want to call that. I don't want to
yeah,
over like I don't want to make it syrupy, but it was the one that was the most heartfelt. And again, you have to go into it. Well, I didn't go into it this way. I didn't really know that it was going to be so much about the Warrens. And you had mentioned too, the only time we actually see any family dynamic in the entire Conjuring universe was in Annabelle Comes Home.
right.
Why? Because it dealt with Julie and it dealt with their home. And the
Yeah,
Warrens are in that movie
right.
for a bit. So um, it I didn't mind the parallel stories taking place because you had the Smurls. I believe that's what they were. I believe
Yeah,
that's their last
Smurls.
name.
Yeah. Hmm.
And yeah, Jack and Janet Smurl, and then you had the Warrens, and there were parallel stories. And I liked the Warren kind of dynamic. Now,
Yeah,
why? Because in each of the following films, we've gotten to know the Warrens and what they do. And
right.
because of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I believe,
Yeah,
they've made the characters very likable to moviegoers. The
yes.
moviegoers like go in to see their exploits, and they're very good at it. And as actors, they seem
Very
to really
believable.
respect and love
Yeah,
their characters.
yes, yes.
They promote them, which it's fantastic to see them promoting the movie, and they appear to be very good friends off screen, as they are the romantic couple on screen. So they've always been the focal point because they're the Ghostbusters. They're coming
Yeah,
in to excise the demons, but this is the first time that we see the family dynamic, that we learn a little bit more about Julie's birth and her backstory. She has somewhat inherited some of Lorraine's gift, if that's what you want to call it, and such. So I did like that, and it did lead to that very touching ending, which we haven't had really you can't say that the endings are necessarily touching, but this one was.
Yes.
Personally, I do think it's the Conjuring series is over. They didn't leave it open necessarily, and I think, it's time to move on. I do understand that there's going to be a television series that's in development that's going to be streaming. Fine. The scares. Yeah, I felt kind of the same way you did. There were definitely some creepy moments in the movie,
Yes.
and it was definitely rated R. And I just, again, it wasn't as scary. And I agree with you. I don't think I really did like the first one. James Wan directed the first one, Lee
Hmm.
Whannell's part of it. And I did enjoy the second one as well. And James Wan, like it's hard to follow him, I think, as a horror director. And this is the
Hmm.
guy, he and Lee Whannell, they did Saw, they launched that. I think James Wan is a very good horror director. He
Yeah.
understands the beats, but not only that, he gets great cinematographer and he knows how he wants his camera to move and he knows where he wants his camera to focus on. To me, he created like a new, like he's the distracted jump scare.
Hmm.
He delivers a jump scare, but seconds later you realize, oh, that's not the jump scare, that's the jump scare. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, there's the sound, but boom, there's a
Yeah.
creature up on the wall or a dresser that jumps down on a person.
Right.
That's the jump scare. Juan is great at delivering that. And he really is great at manipulating the camera so that you know that something is quite not right.
Right.
And this director right here, Michael Chavez, he's very capable and but he did The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. He did The Nun too, which I'm not a big fan of. The Curse of La Llorona. So this gentleman has been familiar with the Conjuring universe. I think this
Yeah.
is probably his best movie.
Yeah.
Um, it was definitely better than The Nun too. And but I agree with you. It comes in at, I believe, 2 hours and 15 minutes, a little bit long. The Conjuring movies themselves teeter around 2 hours, 2 hours, give or take a few minutes after. Um, again, I think the story is good. It delivers for horror fans. It delivers gore. It delivers some chills and creepiness and some decent scares.
Yeah.
It's a good way to start off the Halloween season. I think it's a good ending that caps off the Warrens' story. I think it's decent. It's better than Devil Made Me Do It. You had mentioned something about, Devil Made Me Do It. They added in this witch
Yeah.
plot. You know, all of the Conjuring movies, number one, albeit they're rooted in truth. And I think what's been fantastic about the Conjuring movies is that what the Warrens did in real life was they documented all of their things on tape.
Yeah.
So we have it on tape. We have an audio diary, so to speak, of what happened. And I appreciate that they play that in one way, shape, or form. I also have appreciated that at the end of the movie, they will show clips of the real Warrens,
Right.
right? So that lends the credibility, that lends to the realism. But if you're a moviegoer, you know, you have to understand that things are embellished. I mean, they're making a movie and they want to scare the bejesus out of you. So, yeah, I guess if you're living with a demonic presence in your home, that could scare the bejesus out of you, but you're making a movie. So you
Yeah.
might have to add in additional things. So all of these movies have had, fact versus fiction, and there's exaggerated activity. And the Warrens' increased role. The gentleman who plays the priest, that's the friend of the Warrens. He's a fictional character. Um,
I'm sure they dealt with many different priests in their career, and
100%. Sure. People coming to them. I mean, I think it might have been Rod Steiger in the original Amityville Horror back in the 70s. The
yeah,
Warrens make an appearance in that movie because they were involved with the Amityville Horror, although that movie that came out with Margot Kidder and James Brolin uh, only had them in it for a short time. But yeah, so I've kind of gone in recognizing that stuff isn't, it didn't really happen this way. It
right.
certain things happened, um and I think too, would you agree with me, Kit, that we have with these Conjuring movies, we've somewhat become a little bit jaded,
Yeah,
right? Because they do follow in this universe, they do follow the same beat,
yeah,
right? And unless you're James Wan who can reinvent this stuff, um, we somehow know when the jump is going to happen. And there's only so many times a
right,
rocking chair can rock,
right,
what I'm
exactly.
saying? And this has gone back to Robert Wise doing The Haunting. Of
Yeah,
course, the Conjure, Poltergeist, we saw furniture move, right? So I don't know. Maybe it is we're a little bit jaded.
I guess.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just our we watch a lot of movies. If The
Yeah, I
Conjuring
know.
Last
And
Rites,
you're right. It is kind of we're used to seeing that now, you know. So when we saw it for the first time in The Conjuring, it scared us, you know, especially that thing on top of the dresser or whatever,
the dress
the
of right, yeah,
wardrobe, and that
that's
was
right.
horrifying. So there's
That's
that, and
horrifying. The clapping hand that comes up
yeah,
behind
yeah,
Lily James. Oh, we have to. And again, this is a big spoiler, and this is where I thought it was actually kind of touching is so Julie's getting married to her boyfriend, the wedding, and at the wedding we see
yes,
characters from the previous
yes.
including um and now I forget the
Lily
actress's
Taylor,
name,
Lily
Lily
Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah,
And we see the actress from the Conjuring 2 also made it to the wedding.
yeah.
And again, I
It's
don't
very
know if any
sweet.
of that's true, but it was sweet. It was like, oh my
Yeah,
God, look who it is. And it was a
yeah. I
nice
know
way to
it was.
bookend everything.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very sweet,
Yes.
and good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I agree. Like I said, it does a nice job sort of, you know, giving us a kind of a nice wrap up to it. And I'm sure they'll find some other way to do more of these movies. But I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we could throw in the Annabelle movies here real quick. Those have all been kind of interesting. The first one was the second one was
eh,
great. You saw the origin of the doll, and then the one where you finally get to see this is what I've been talking about, and we've had this discussion a few times, is that room in the
that room.
Warren.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like what would happen if some of those things were
Got
touched
out.
or got out. That was so cool to me. I
I
not cool,
agree.
but you know, horrifying. It's like, what does that do? You know?
I think the second and third Annabelle movies
Yeah,
were very good and each one was very scary. Annabelle
yeah,
Creation is really good. And Annabelle Comes Home. And for what you're saying too, it was fantastic. And again, it involves Julie and one of her best friends. They're
yeah,
trapped in this house. It's terrifying. It's good
yeah,
horror. It's really good.
yeah,
Annabelle, you know, Annabelle, if memory serves, is more or less like what we open in the first Conjuring movie.
yeah,
Like is, the Annabelle doll. So I get Annabelle. The Nun movies, well, they
yeah. They
did
have
nothing for me.
no.
Um,
The nun thing
yeah,
is way creepier as sort of a side thing, you know, from the room
a
or
hundred
something.
percent.
Not a whole movie
Yeah.
about it. No.
not two whole movies about it. So yeah, no, I liked Annabelle, the last two, Creation and Annabelle Comes Home. And again, we see the Warrens' home. We know that room that they're talking about. And again, when we talk about embellishments, the original Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll. Now, when you talk about real life fact versus fiction, um, did you see the story that came out? I think it's within the past month that there was a ghost hunter who's pretty popular on the social media channels and things like that. Um, he was in possession or traveling. He had the Annabelle doll, the Raggedy Ann doll, and he died mysteriously.
I think I did
Did
see
you
that.
read about
Yes.
that? Like, so
Yeah.
that stuff is kind of creepy, you
I did like
know?
the line
Uh,
in this when the little girl goes, "Do you like dolls?" And she says, "No, not really."
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
No,
no,
not
that's
so much.
good.
Not so
So
much.
it, and I get it. They made a creepier doll, but a possessed demonic Raggedy Ann doll is pretty scary too. They might not have been able to have gotten the rights for Raggedy Ann. I don't know, but they made a creepy doll for
Yeah.
Annabelle. So, look, I've enjoyed Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I've enjoyed their pairing. It was great casting. They've continued to play the roles. Granted, I'm sure they got
Yeah.
more money for each one, but they were even in other movies
Yeah.
that weren't around the Warrens. So I respect them for that. They did a great campaign for this movie and for past movies, and they seem to really like these characters. So
Yeah.
for this movie, what do you give not Annabelle Last Rites, The Conjuring Last Rites?
I think 3.5 for me. I know I like to do halves. I think 3.5 just because of the length. And I wasn't as necessarily scared as I have in the past, but certainly a worthy addition to the franchise.
I find it to be a worthy addition to the franchise. I found it to be better than The Devil Made Me Do It. And I give it a solid three as well. For pretty much the same reasons, but it was good to at least, to have a Conjuring movie. And it struck me while I'm watching this. I'm going, we really don't know anything about the Warrens.
Not
We don't
really,
know
no.
about their when they were newlyweds and the pregnancy and all that stuff. We never got that. And I found that there are other certain things that I appreciated about this movie see the as we see time move on, where the Warrens would do a lecture and they did it to a crowded house.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they're doing a lecture and there's like maybe six people in a lecture
Yeah.
hall.
And they
And the
and yeah, three of them are making fun of him, calling him Ghostbusters and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Yeah.
so I thought that was interesting that in the 80s, things kind of changed with how horror movies too impacted. I'm sure horror movies impacted their business, so to speak.
You're right.
So I found all of that fascinating. And we're also seeing the Warrens being retired,
Right.
saying, nope, we're not doing this anymore. It's been too
Yeah.
much, and we want to focus on each other and our family. And I found that an interesting jumping off point for a movie. So, what case is going to get them
What
to
does
do
Aaron
this?
what did Ed do for a living? I can't forget. I can't remember. Did they ever
I
say?
don't even know. I don't even
Hmm.
know what they said Lorraine did necessarily.
Hmm.
Like, as far as, like, I don't know how they must have been independently wealthy.
Who knows? Who knows?
You
Yeah.
know,
So, but let us know what you think of the film as well down below, and comments and what
like,
other Conjuring
subscribe,
moves, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff.
yeah, do
So,
all that stuff. And the devil didn't make you do it. It's just
no,
Kit and
it's just
myself.
me and Dimitri. Yeah. So
Just the two of us.
thanks every
Uh,
so thanks
yeah,
everybody for
thanks.
listening,
We'll
and
have
we'll
some
be
more
back
movies.
again. Yes, we'll be back soon enough to talk about more movies coming up. We're heading
Can't
into
wait.
the award season, so we're going to be talking about some of the films that'll probably get nominated for Oscars coming up. So that's exciting. So stay
Yeah, and
tuned for more.
we have October. There'll be some more horror movies, and as you said, some award movies, festival movies that played big. We'll get to talk about a lot of stuff between now and the end of the year. And now we still have, the end of what are we in September? So, yes, we
Yep.
will be back soon. Thank you very much for joining us. And please, again, share, like, subscribe, comment. We'll write you back, promise. And we'll see you at the movies. Just you buy the popcorn.
Yep. You guys, bye.
Bye.